Since February, essential workers have been busier and under more stress than ever before. Doctors, nurses, school teachers, bakers, butchers, farmers and military personnel have been shoved into the spotlight and forced to fight a war like no other, a biological one that is continually referred to as unprecedented. Despite the unthinkable times, there's been an army of hard-working men and women keeping our communities safe, comforted, fed and watered, and they continue to fight the good fight without seeking an ounce of praise. Our essential workers are worn out after more than 6 months working around the clock and sharing the load amongst their co-workers, but you will not see one of them complaining. There is no end in sight, as they've all been told until there's a vaccine, it's a matter of rolling up their sleeves and all doing our bit to get through to the other side. While our essential workers continue to show up day after day and deliver at a time when it is needed most, they are not immune from all the uneasy feelings many other Australians face. They too have felt the fear, the anxiety, been unable to attend funerals or weddings of loved ones, and they've suffered all the same woes just like every other person on the planet. The only difference, they've had to continue to deliver under the pressure. You see, they too are mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, grandparents and partners. They too want this to end, and some days they could quite easily drop in a heap and give up. But that's not an option for any of them. And as a country, we are relying on them, and they know it more than anyone. After all, that's what drives them to get out of bed each and every day and soldier on.
So at Cairns Private, we've continued to birth during COVID, and the babies never stop when things like COVID occur. So we've been trying to make the hospital and our consulting rooms as safe as possible for mums and babies to feel that they can continue to receive the medical care and the midwifery care that they need through that time.
New job titles have been created overnight, new legislation adhered to, and a whole new way of doing things with very limited lead time to prepare. When you witness them in action, it's leadership at its finest. They have no time for corporate strategy or months of preparation and planning. Like us, they are living press conference to press conference, just waiting to see what goalposts will be shifted next and what challenge they may need to tackle for the day ahead. It's a willingness to step up and do whatever it takes to get the job done. It's courage.
Prior to COVID-19, I was currently working at Sexual Health, and then we were asked to set up a fever clinic. We've now set that up as a drive-through fever clinic.
Schools across the country have had to learn a new way of teaching, while many in the education sector battle their own economic, family and emotional challenges, all while ensuring our children continue to learn through a biological war zone.
I think we had to really reinvent how we did things, so that was a bit of a challenge for all of us, but I think the message for all of us was around being journeying together and being in it together. We're all about learning, so we really had to put our money where our mouth was and model that for students as well. So staff were learning, students were learning, parents were learning, and so we had to learn all of this together, a new way of doing things.
Personally, I'm a nurse who's very humbled to be in this profession. I really enjoy my job. I enjoy helping people, trying to get them the best help that they can. I certainly didn't seek this limelight. It's not me, but we have all pulled together. We all need to pull together to get through this.
In far north Queensland, in many respects, life has continued to function with as much normality as possible. We have been spared the horrendous caseloads and death tolls experienced in places like the US, UK and Europe. In fact, because we've been spared the worst of it so far, experts say the level of complacency that has emerged in our local community is frightening, and people need to be vigilant regardless of our city's low case numbers. For those on the front line, their message is very clear. We are in this together, and it's up to each and every one of us to follow the Chief Medical Officer's advice and just do our bit so we can all get through this as unscathed as we possibly can. The toll it has taken on some in our community is often not reported, and our local doctors say the impact has been far-reaching both mentally and physically.
It's been very distressing for most people, to be honest, to have that social distancing from their family, their friends. When they have their baby, that joyous occasion is somewhat interrupted by the need to be in hospital apart from close family members in the lead up to birth.
The mass devastation and upheaval this global pandemic has brought cannot be ignored, but there are more than a few silver linings that have arisen along the way.
Learning has an opportunity for change, and I think we were catapulted a little bit into that a different way of doing things, and I think we learned some really interesting things that I don't think we'll throw away. So I think that journey's been good, but it's also a real sense of coming together around learning. So I think we've never seen parents more engaged in learning as we've seen them through COVID. And I think there's also that real appreciation for the work teachers do as well and how hard it is sometimes. And I think there's that relationship between home and school has really come together around this period.
And for those young people wondering what the future holds and whether there'll be any jobs left at the end of all this, our essential workers would like to remind them of a few professions that until recently had become a forgotten occupation. Baking is just one profession making a big comeback.
If you think that you've got it in you to do baking apprenticeship or pastry cook, look into it, because it is a good trade to have.
And to those in business struggling right now, this local baker has a simple piece of advice to help you keep trading.
What I say to my staff is customer service, quality of product and personal touch. Those three keys.